When a man walks into a room, before he even speaks, before anyone knows his name, something has already been decided. People feel him. Women, especially, feel him. It's almost instant, almost invisible, but it's powerful. That's presence. It's the kind of energy that makes someone turn their head, not because of the brand of shoes he's wearing or how tall he is, but because he radiates something different. And here's the truth: women don't fall for looks first, they fall for how a man makes them feel the moment he enters their space. Think about it. You've probably seen it happen. A man who isn't the best dressed, maybe not the tallest, maybe not even the most conventionally attractive, but when he walks in, he commands attention. He doesn't beg for it, he doesn't chase it, he doesn't try too hard, he simply carries it. His posture is open, his eyes steady, his movements calm, and his energy says, "I belong here." That's the kind of presence that makes women take notice. Now, contrast that with the man who sneaks into a room like he's trying not to be noticed. He avoids eye contact, he hunches his shoulders, he blends in with the walls. He might be a good guy, he might even have great qualities, but the truth is his energy tells a different story. It says he's unsure, he's hesitant, he doesn't believe he deserves attention. And here's what's fascinating: women don't consciously analyze this, they feel it. It's almost instinctual. Presence is not about being the loudest voice, cracking the biggest joke, or making sure everyone sees you. In fact, that's insecurity disguised as confidence. True presence is quieter, deeper, and stronger. It's the ability to take up space without apology. When a man is comfortable in his own skin, when he doesn't need to prove anything, he naturally becomes magnetic. Women don't see a desperate man, they see a grounded man. And grounded men are irresistible. So how does a man build this presence? It starts with the inside, not the outside. Confidence isn't just a mindset, it's a state of being. A man with presence has already decided within himself that he is enough. He isn't walking into a room wondering, will they like me? Will I impress them? Do I measure up? He walks in with the unshakable belief, I bring value. I don't need to prove it. And that belief leaks out of his body language, his tone, his silence, his every move. Here's something powerful to understand. Presence is amplified through stillness. Most men think they need to do more, talk more, joke more, perform more. But the truth is, the man who can stand still, breathe deeply, look directly, and simply be, that's the man who stands out. Stillness signals strength. It tells women, I'm not afraid, I'm not nervous, I'm not chasing approval. I am enough right here, right now. Women notice this instantly because presence is tied to security. A man with presence makes the space feel safe, stable, and grounded. Without saying a word, he communicates, you can trust me. I won't crumble under pressure. I know who I am. And that's exactly why women reject men who radiate insecurity. It's not cruelty, it's instinct. If his energy says, I don't know who I am, why would she choose him? Women are naturally wired to be drawn to strength, not in muscles or aggression, but in stability and groundedness. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two men at a party. One is frantically bouncing from group to group, trying to make everyone laugh, trying to be the center of attention, always looking around to see if people are watching. The other man, he's calm. He stands with good posture, makes eye contact with the people he talks to, and actually listens instead of waiting for his turn to speak. Who do you think women notice more? It's not the loud one. It's the man who radiates calm strength. Presence also shows up in the smallest details. It's in the way you shake someone's hand, not too limp, not too crushing, but firm and steady. It's in how you hold eye contact, not staring to intimidate, but looking with confidence and warmth. It's in your posture, not puffing up your chest to look bigger, but standing tall with relaxed shoulders. These tiny signals create an unspoken language, and women are fluent in it. They pick up on it instantly, often before you even say a word. Now here's the key: presence isn't something you put on like a jacket. It's not an act, it's not a trick, it's not a line you rehearse in front of the mirror. Presence is who you become when you strip away the need for approval and step fully into yourself. It's not about pretending to be confident, it's about cultivating real self-respect. Because when you respect yourself deeply, when you carry yourself like your life has meaning and purpose, everyone around you feels it. And that's why presence is magnetic. Women don't consciously say, that man's posture is great, his breathing is steady, he must be confident. No, they feel it. It's subconscious, instinctive, primal. They feel his groundedness, and it draws them in. They don't even know why, but they're curious, intrigued, interested. Presence is the first signal of attraction, the first unspoken yes. So if you ever wonder why some men are chosen instantly while others fade into the background, remember this: it's not about what you say, it's about what you radiate. Women don't just listen with their ears, they listen with their emotions. And presence speaks louder than words ever could. One of the greatest mistakes men make when it comes to attraction is believing they have to be someone else in order to be chosen. They put on a mask. They try to sound more interesting than they feel they are. They exaggerate their achievements. They pretend to be laid back when they're actually anxious. They fake confidence because they think that's what women want. And here's the problem. Women can sense it. It doesn't matter how well you think you're acting. Pretending never works in the long run, because deep down, people don't respond to performance, they respond to authenticity. Think about it this way. When you meet someone who is completely real, no filters, no pretending, just comfortable being who they are, it's refreshing. You can breathe around them. They're not trying to sell you anything. They're not trying to impress you. They're simply being, and that is magnetic. Women feel the same way. They are not looking for perfection. They are looking for realness. The moment you stop trying to perform and start showing up as yourself, something shifts, the pressure disappears, the conversation flows naturally. The energy feels lighter, and ironically, that's when you become most attractive. Authenticity is powerful because it communicates self-acceptance. A man who is authentic is saying without words, "I know who I am and I'm good with that." He's not apologizing for his quirks. He's not hiding his flaws, and he's not afraid to show vulnerability. That doesn't mean oversharing every detail of your life or unloading all your insecurities at once. It means being aligned, your words match your actions, your body language matches your feelings, your personality isn't a mask but a mirror of your truth. Now, let me tell you why this matters so much in attraction. When a man pretends, women feel tension. It's almost like static in the air. Something feels off. Maybe he's smiling too much, laughing too loud at his own jokes, bragging about things she never asked about. And instantly, she feels resistance. Because if he's not real, he can't be trusted. And trust is the foundation of attraction. A woman might smile politely, she might nod, but inside she's already pulling back. She doesn't reject him because he's not good enough. She rejects him because she doesn't know who he really is. On the other hand, when a man is authentic, women relax. They don't feel the need to figure him out or test if he's hiding something. His energy is congruent. What he says and what he does match. And that congruence is rare. In a world where most people are performing for attention, authenticity feels like oxygen. That's why women are drawn to it. Here's a secret most men don't realize. Women aren't looking for flawless men, they're looking for honest men. If you're nervous, it's okay to admit you're nervous. If you don't know the answer to something, it's okay to say, "I don't know." If you're passionate about something nerdy or unusual, it's okay to share it instead of hiding it. That realness is what creates connection. Women don't fall in love with perfection, they fall in love with uniqueness. And uniqueness only shows up when you stop pretending. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two men on a date. The first one is trying so hard. He's Googled pickup lines, memorized jokes, and is constantly thinking about what she wants to hear. He's polite, sure, but he feels rehearsed, like he's reading from a script. Now imagine the second man. He doesn't try to impress with lines. He talks about things he actually cares about. If he's into books, he shares that. If he loves music, he brings that up. He doesn't pretend to like what she likes just to win points. He listens, he shares honestly, and he lets the silence breathe when it shows up. Which man do you think she feels closer to? Not the performer, but the authentic one. Women know authenticity when they see it because it feels safe. Pretending creates distance. Authenticity creates intimacy. Pretending makes her feel like she has to figure you out. Authenticity makes her feel like she can relax and just be herself too. And that's the hidden truth. When you're authentic, you give women permission to be authentic as well. That's when real attraction happens, not the surface, level kind, but the deep kind that lasts. Of course, being authentic requires courage. It means risking rejection, because not everyone will like the real you. But here's the twist, that's the point. Authenticity doesn't guarantee that everyone will choose you, but it guarantees that the right women will. The wrong women will filter themselves out. And isn't that what you want? To be chosen for who you are, not for a role you played. Because if you build attraction on performance, you'll have to keep performing forever. That's exhausting. But if you build it on authenticity, you can relax because you're simply being you. The truth is, women don't remember the man who played it safe and said all the right things. They remember the man who was real, the man who made them feel something genuine, the man who wasn't afraid to show his true self. That's why authenticity is not just a nice trait, it's a decisive factor. It's the difference between being noticed for a moment and being remembered for a lifetime. So, when you ask yourself why women instantly choose some men and reject others, look at authenticity. Because when a man stops pretending, stops hiding, and starts living in his truth, he instantly separates himself from the crowd. Authenticity isn't just attractive, it's unforgettable. One of the most overlooked qualities that separates the men women choose instantly from the ones they quietly reject is emotional intelligence. Most men don't even realize how powerful this is because they've been taught to focus on the surface, looks, money, status, achievements. But none of those things matter if you can't connect on a deeper level. And connection is built through emotional intelligence. Women feel it the moment they interact with you. It's the difference between a man who makes them feel seen and heard and a man who makes them feel invisible even while he's standing right in front of them. So what exactly is emotional intelligence? It's not about being soft or constantly talking about feelings. It's the ability to read the room, to notice emotions, to understand without words, and to respond in a way that makes people feel safe. It's being able to manage your own emotions instead of being controlled by them. Women pick up on this instantly. If you can stay calm in the middle of tension, if you can listen without trying to fix or dominate, if you can handle her emotions without becoming defensive or dismissive, you're already in a different category than most men. Think about the opposite for a moment. Imagine a man who crumbles the second a woman gets upset, who reacts with anger or shuts down because he doesn't know how to handle discomfort. That energy tells her one thing: he's unstable, and instability kills attraction. On the flip side, when a man can stay composed, when he doesn't take everything personally, when he's able to listen fully and respond with clarity, she feels safe. And safety, at the deepest level, is what creates attraction. Emotional intelligence starts with listening, really listening. Most men don't actually listen. They wait for their turn to talk, or they listen only to find the right answer. But women can feel the difference between a man who's present and a man who's pretending. When you're truly listening, you're not just hearing words, you're picking up tone, body language, the emotion underneath what's being said. That kind of attention makes her feel valued. And when a woman feels valued, she leans in. But listening is only the first step. The next is empathy, the ability to understand how she feels even if you don't agree with it. You don't have to solve everything. You don't have to give advice all the time. Sometimes the most powerful thing a man can say is, "I get it. That sounds tough, I hear you." Those simple words create connection. They tell her you're not dismissing her experience, you're acknowledging it. And acknowledgement is powerful. It's the bridge that allows intimacy to grow. Now, let's talk about control. Not control over her, but control over yourself. A man with emotional intelligence doesn't lose himself in the storm of emotions around him. If she's frustrated, he doesn't mirror her frustration. If she's anxious, he doesn't panic. Instead, he becomes an anchor. He stays grounded. That doesn't mean he ignores her feelings. It means he doesn't get pulled under by them. That balance, be empathetic without being consumed, is what makes a man deeply attractive. Because in that moment, he's showing her that he's dependable. He's showing her that no matter how intense life gets, he won't collapse under pressure. Women also test emotional intelligence in small ways without even realizing it. They might say something sarcastic or give a sharp remark just to see how you respond. If you get defensive or lash back, you fail the test. If you can take it with calmness, maybe even humor, you pass. Because what she's really testing is whether you can handle her emotions without losing yourself. She doesn't want a man who controls her. She wants a man who can control himself. Here's something you need to remember. Women are emotional beings by nature. That doesn't mean they're irrational. It means they feel deeply and they express deeply. When you have emotional intelligence, you're not threatened by that. You don't need her to be perfectly calm all the time in order for you to be comfortable. Instead, you allow space for her emotions while staying steady in your own. And that creates polarity, the balance of masculine steadiness with feminine expression. Without that, attraction fades. Let's put this into a real example. Imagine she comes to you after a hard day, venting about something that happened at work. The average man jumps straight into problem-solving mode. Here's what you should do, here's how to fix it. He thinks he's being helpful, but often that makes her feel unheard. What she really wanted was for him to sit with her, to listen, to say, "That sounds frustrating, I'm here." That moment of empathy is what deepens the bond. Later, if she asks for advice, that's the time to give it. But the first step is always connection, not correction. And this is where most men miss it. They believe being attractive is about dominance, about being the loudest voice, about always being in control of everything. But real strength is shown in composure. It's the man who can remain calm when others are losing it, who can comfort without smothering, who can stand steady in the face of emotion. That's the man women trust. That's the man they choose. Attraction at its core is about how you make someone feel. You can have the best job, the best body, the best car, but if being around you feels exhausting or unsafe, she'll walk away. But if being around you feels calming, grounding, and safe, she'll lean in. Emotional intelligence is the key to that. It's not flashy, it doesn't make headlines, but it's the quiet strength that makes the biggest difference. So remember this, women don't just listen to your words, they feel your energy. If your presence says, "I understand, I'm steady, I can handle life without falling apart," you've already set yourself apart from most men. And that is why emotional intelligence is one of the strongest forces of attraction you can ever develop. Every man who has ever been around women has experienced it, even if he didn't realize what was happening. A sarcastic remark, a playful challenge, a sudden shift in mood, a question that seems out of nowhere. It catches him off guard and instantly he has a choice: react or stay steady. What most men don't know is that these moments aren't random. They are subconscious tests. Women don't sit down and plan them, but they happen instinctively. And the reason is simple. She's trying to see if you're the kind of man who can handle her world without collapsing. Now, before you think this is about games or manipulation, let me clear something up. These tests aren't about tricking you or trying to make your life harder. They're about survival, about trust, about instinct. A woman wants to know if the man she's considering is stable, dependable, and grounded. She wants to know if he's strong enough emotionally to stand firm when life gets heavy. And the fastest way she can find out is by testing. She doesn't even know she's doing it most of the time. But her intuition is checking. Can I lean on him? Can I trust him? Will he break under pressure, or will he stay calm and strong? Here's what happens when a man fails. She makes a small comment, maybe a tease, maybe a question like, why did you do it that way? Instead of staying calm, he gets defensive. He takes it personally, maybe raises his voice, maybe sulks. His energy says, I can't handle this. And in that moment, something inside her shuts down. It might not be obvious, she might not even say it out loud, but subconsciously she marks him as unreliable. Not because he didn't answer perfectly, but because his reaction told her he's unstable. On the other hand, when a man passes the test, something completely different happens. She throws a little jab, he smiles. She questions him, he explains calmly or even playfully. She challenges him, and instead of crumbling, he stays rooted. In that moment, her instincts relax. She feels safer, more attracted, more open. Because his steadiness tells her she can trust him not just in small conversations, but in the storms of life. Think about it like this. Life is full of pressure. There will be stress, uncertainty, conflict, challenges. A woman doesn't want a man who only shines when things are easy. She wants a man who can carry weight, who can steady the ground when it's shaking. And these little tests are her way of finding out if you're that man. Not because she enjoys testing, but because she needs to know. Many men misinterpret these tests and get frustrated. They say, why does she always have to question me? Why can't she just let things be? But the truth is, these moments aren't attacks, they're opportunities. Every time she throws a test your way, it's a chance to show her who you really are. If you get flustered, defensive, or angry, you've shown her you're fragile. But if you stay calm, relaxed, unshaken, you've shown her strength, and strength builds trust. Now let's get practical. Imagine she says, are you really gonna wear that shirt? A man who fails might snap back, what's wrong with it? Don't you like anything I do? His energy is defensive, insecure. A man who passes might smile and say, yeah, I like it. Why are you jealous? It looks better on me than anyone else. Same situation, different response. One creates tension, the other creates playfulness. And the difference is not in the words, but in the energy behind them. Passing the test doesn't mean you always agree with her or that you let everything slide. It means you don't get thrown off balance. You can disagree without hostility. You can stand your ground without being rigid. You can laugh when she expects you to panic. That's what steadiness looks like. And that steadiness is deeply attractive because it signals safety. What's even more important is understanding that these tests don't stop once she's chosen you. They're not just for the first date or the first few months. They happen throughout the relationship. Because she always wants to know, consciously or not, is he still strong? Can I still trust him? If you stay grounded consistently, the relationship deepens. If you fail repeatedly, attraction fades. That's how powerful this is. And here's the truth, most men miss you. You don't have to pass with perfection. You just have to pass with presence. You don't need the perfect comeback or the smartest answer. You just need to remain calm, grounded, and real. Because presence communicates stability more than words ever could. So why do women choose some men instantly and reject others? This is one of the reasons. Instinctively, they're reading reactions, they're checking if a man's emotions are fragile or solid, and the choice happens fast. Fail the test and she loses confidence in you. Pass it and she sees something rare, a man who won't fall apart under pressure. That's the kind of man women remember. Not the one who had all the right lines, not the one who tried too hard to impress, but the one who could be tested and still stand steady. Because in the end, attraction isn't about impressing, it's about trust. And trust is built every time you pass a test without losing yourself. Attraction is not logical. It doesn't follow a checklist of height, money, or status. It's not something you can fully explain because it's not happening in the mind, it's happening in the body. It's an energy. And one of the most powerful forces behind that energy is polarity. Polarity is the spark that happens when masculine energy meets feminine energy. Without polarity, there's no magnetism. With polarity, even the most ordinary interaction can feel electric. So what is masculine energy? It's not about being loud, aggressive, or controlling. Masculine energy is direction. It's clarity. It's the ability to lead yourself with purpose. It's strength that doesn't need to prove itself. And feminine energy is not weakness. It's openness, creativity, expression, flow, and emotion. When these two meet, something natural happens. The feminine feels safe to express, and the masculine feels alive in its purpose. That's when attraction becomes undeniable. You've probably seen this in real life. A woman walks into a room full of men. Some are trying too hard to impress her, some are nervous, some shrink back, and nothing happens. But then one man simply carries himself differently. He doesn't chase, he doesn't bend, he doesn't perform. His energy is steady, direct, present. She notices him almost instantly. Why? Because his masculine energy is strong enough to create polarity with her feminine energy. And polarity is like gravity. It pulls them together without either of them even trying. The reason so many men get rejected without knowing why is because they collapse their masculine energy. They become passive, indecisive, unsure. They put the responsibility of direction on the woman, where to go, what to do, how to feel. And in that moment, polarity disappears. She doesn't feel pulled in, she feels burdened. Attraction dies not because he's a bad man, because the polarity between them has dissolved. On the flip side, when a man embraces his masculine energy, he doesn't just make decisions, he makes them with certainty. He doesn't control her, but he leads himself. He knows where he's going in life, and he invites her to join, not because he needs her to complete him, but because he's already complete. That's when the feminine feels safe to relax, to soften, to express, to be fully herself. Because she knows she doesn't have to carry everything. He's steady enough to carry his share. Polarity also shows up in conversation. When a man leans too much into needing approval, he mirrors her emotions instead of grounding them. If she's upset, he gets upset too. If she's anxious, he becomes anxious. That may look like empathy on the surface, but it doesn't create attraction, it creates sameness, and sameness kills polarity. Attraction doesn't thrive in sameness, it thrives in contrast. When she brings emotion and he brings calmness, when she brings expression and he brings clarity, the dance between them begins. That dance is what women feel instantly when they meet a man who truly embodies masculinity. Now, polarity isn't about dominance or submission in the way most people misunderstand it. It's not about control, it's about complement. Masculine and feminine aren't enemies, they're partners. They balance each other. When a man is deeply grounded in his masculine energy, he doesn't need to overpower the feminine. He empowers it. He makes space for it. And in return, her feminine energy awakens him, inspires him, brings out life in him. This is why the most attractive relationships aren't built on sameness. They're built on polarity. Think of it like a magnet. If both ends are the same, they push away. But if they're opposite, they pull together with force. That's exactly what happens with masculine and feminine energy. If a man collapses into indecision, she steps into direction. If he becomes emotional chaos, she becomes the grounded one. The polarity flips and attraction dies. But when he stays rooted in masculine energy, the polarity strengthens and attraction grows naturally. This is why some men who may not have movie star looks or a big bank account still draw women effortlessly. It's because they radiate masculinity in a way that creates polarity. Their presence is strong, their direction is clear, their energy is steady. Women feel it, even if they can't put it into words. And it makes them lean in, curious, drawn, attracted. So the question is, how do you build polarity? You build it by embracing your masculine energy fully. That means having direction in your life, knowing what you stand for, not waiting for permission to lead yourself. It means being decisive, not because you always know the perfect answer, but because you're willing to choose and take responsibility. It means being calm in the storm instead of adding to the chaos. It means holding space for her emotions without losing yourself in them. And perhaps the most important part, it means not apologizing for being masculine. In today's world, many men are told to suppress their strength, their clarity, their direction. But when you suppress your masculine energy, you also suppress polarity. And without polarity, attraction fades. The truth is, women aren't repelled by masculine energy when it's healthy, they crave it. Not the toxic, controlling version, but the steady, grounded version. The kind that makes them feel safe to be fully feminine. Attraction is not something you can fake because energy doesn't lie. If you try to act masculine without truly embodying it, she'll feel the gap. But when you cultivate it within yourself, when you become rooted in purpose and grounded in who you are, you won't need to prove anything. You'll radiate it naturally. And women will respond not to what you say, but to what you are. That's why some men are chosen instantly while others are overlooked. It's not about luck. It's not about tricks. It's about polarity. When your masculine energy is strong, it awakens her feminine energy. And in that space, attraction doesn't just happen, it becomes unavoidable. When we talk about attraction, most people focus on the obvious things: looks, money, status, charm. And while those things can catch someone's attention for a moment, they don't hold it for long. Real attraction, the kind that makes a woman choose one man instantly and overlook another, comes from a deeper place. It's about the value a man brings beyond the surface. And that value has very little to do with what he owns and everything to do with who he is. The truth is, surface level traits can only take you so far. Good looks can draw eyes across the room, but if there's nothing deeper, interest fades quickly. Wealth can open doors, but if the man behind it is shallow or insecure, the attraction feels hollow. Even charm can wear off if it's just a performance. What women respond to on a deep, lasting level is substance, the qualities that make a man's presence feel valuable, meaningful, and rare. Value beyond the surface is about character. It's about the way a man treats people, not just the people who can benefit him, but the people who can't give him anything in return. It's about integrity, doing what you say you'll do, being consistent in your actions, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Integrity might not be flashy, but it's magnetic because it tells a woman she can trust you, and trust is the foundation of attraction. Another part of deeper value is emotional maturity. A man who can regulate his emotions instead of being ruled by them, who can listen without instantly defending himself, who can hold space for her feelings without turning them into a competition. That man stands out. Most men get lost in either shutting down emotionally or exploding emotionally. Very few can balance strength with empathy. When a woman sees that balance, she feels an instant sense of safety, and safety is what allows her to lean in closer instead of pulling away. Confidence also plays a huge role, but not the kind of confidence that shouts, brags, or dominates. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't need applause. It's a man who knows his worth without having to prove it. When a man has this kind of grounded confidence, his value is obvious. He doesn't have to chase because his presence already pulls. Women can feel the difference between a man who needs validation and a man who already validates himself. And the second man always wins. Then there's vision. A man without direction in life often feels empty, like he's drifting, and women can sense it. On the other hand, a man with purpose, a man who knows where he's going and why, is instantly more attractive. Purpose creates gravity. It gives his actions meaning and his life momentum. And when a woman encounters a man with a clear vision, she feels pulled into that energy. It excites her because it means being with him isn't just about now, it's about building something meaningful together. Value beyond the surface is also about how you make others feel. A man who lifts people up, who encourages instead of tears down, who creates an atmosphere of respect and warmth, that man carries a rare energy. People naturally want to be around him, not because of what he has, but because of how they feel in his presence. And women notice this. They pay attention to how a man treats the waiter, how he speaks to his friends, how he handles stress. All of it reveals his deeper value more than his words ever could. What makes this so powerful is that it can't be faked. You can fake confidence for a night, you can rent luxury for a weekend, but true value is revealed in consistency. Over time, women see who a man really is, and the ones who carry depth, integrity, maturity, and vision stand apart from the rest. That's why some men, even without the flashiest looks or the biggest bank accounts, get chosen instantly. They radiate value that goes far beyond what can be seen on the surface. And here's the part that most men misvalue is not about perfection. It's not about being flawless. It's about being real, authentic, willing to grow. Women don't choose men because they never make mistakes. They choose men who take responsibility when they do, who learn, who evolve. That growth mindset is attractive because it shows resilience, strength, and humility all at once. Ultimately, value beyond the surface is what turns temporary attraction into lasting connection. It's what makes a woman look at one man and say, he's different. He's not like the rest. It's what makes her invest her energy, her trust, her love. Because deep down, women aren't just looking for entertainment, they're looking for depth, and when they find it, it's undeniable. So while many men waste time polishing the outside, chasing status symbols, rehearsing pickup lines, obsessing over what to wear, the men who win are the ones who build the inside. They focus on character, maturity, confidence, purpose, and authenticity. That's the kind of value no one can fake, and that's the kind of value women feel immediately. It's not just about being chosen. It's about being remembered, respected, and wanted for who you truly are. That is why women choose some men instantly and reject others. It's not just the surface they're responding to, it's the soul. And when your inner value is strong, it shines so brightly that no one can ignore it. At the end of the day, attraction isn't about tricks, games, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about who you are at your core. Women don't choose instantly because of chance. They choose instantly because they feel something undeniable. That feeling comes from your energy, your presence, your confidence, your polarity, your purpose, and the value you bring that goes far beyond the surface. Looks fade. Money can come and go. But the man who stands rooted in his own identity, who lives with integrity, who leads himself with clarity, who balances masculine strength with emotional maturity, that man will always stand out. He doesn't have to chase because he attracts. He doesn't need approval because he already validates himself. He doesn't perform because his value speaks for itself. And this is the truth you need to carry with you. Women don't just choose men, they respond to the energy men embody. If you embody confusion, neediness, and insecurity, they feel it instantly and they reject it instantly. But if you embody strength, direction, maturity, and authenticity, they feel it just as instantly and they lean in. So the real challenge is not, how do I make women choose me? The real challenge is, how do I build myself into the kind of man who doesn't need to beg for attention because he naturally commands it? When you focus on that, when you build yourself from the inside out, you stop worrying about being chosen, because you'll know the right women will choose you instantly. Not because of luck, but because you become the kind of man who cannot be ignored. That is why some men are chosen and others are overlooked. And now, the choice is yours. Will you stay the same, or will you step into becoming the man women notice without even trying?